So welcome everybody. This is our last day of ETHOnline judging. This is group 3 where we're going to do a lot more demos of all the remaining projects that we have not judged so far. And this has been an amazing month for all of us. We had over 700 hackers participating in this event, and they're coming in from 65 different countries and 19 different time zones. And we are going to be jumping into a lot of their demos. So 175 projects were submitted for this month, and we saw an amazing set of projects from tackling DeFi to scaling to NFT and gaming, and we are going to be looking at a subset of them today in this call, and going through some of the comments and feedback from those projects with our judges. And I want to kind of thank everybody for being here. So the quick format of how this session is going to go: each team will have 8 minutes in total. They'll have 4 minutes to showcase their video demo, which they've pre-recorded to minimize any technical difficulties, and there'll be 4-minute Q&A post demos for each team. And because we have a lot of projects going on, we'll do a short break for our judges and some of our hackers to kind of rest halfway through this point, and then we'll kind of resume with the demos. So kind of the way each project is going to be looked at is going to be on 5 different categories. So we will rate projects on how technical, original, practical they are, and then also on their design aspect, on how kind of they fare into the UI, UX, or developer experience for their projects. And we also recognize that this is not the only way to look at a project and the only categories that may be considered. So we also have a catch-all that we like to call wow factor that lets us offset a handful of the things that would have missed in the previous 4 categories. And before we kind of jump into our very first demo, I want to just really emphasize that people are here to learn. This particular event has 50% newcomers into the Web3 ecosystem. So the goal from our side is to allow them to experiment and kind of really showcase what they were excited about and how close they got to finishing it. And people are not aiming to be businesses. Some of them will choose to do so at their own sort of pace, but it's not something that's being either incentivized or emphasized or encouraged necessarily. So the hackers are very much here to get feedback, and the goal for today's demo is going to be just really seeing what interesting things that matter to each of them, and kind of seeing them in practice. So with that said, doing the hard job today are our 3 judges. I want to kind of thank Sid from Coinbase, Dmitriy from Bollinger Investments, and Ashley from NewFi Protocol for being here. They'll be our 3 judges for today. They'll be kind of walking through all of the projects and kind of giving their comments and feedback to each of those teams. And they're all here now, and we'll just kick this off immediately with our very first demo for today. So I'd like to kind of welcome our first team, which is Project Mindful. So we are in the process of promoting this team now, and whenever they kind of get on, we should be able to have them share their screen and kick off with their demo.
Sorry, Kartik, can you promote them for this round?
I just realized I missed something, so let me correct for that. Anna, I have made you co-host as well.
And anticipation.
Perfect, thank you. Got it.
All right.
Hi,
so,
can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. So whenever you're ready, feel free to share your video.
On it.
I like where this is going.
That's a familiar face. Looks like we don't have any audio, so if you would just mind stopping that and checking the audio box one more time, that would be some piece here. Chris?
I don't have an option for that.
On Zoom, there should be a sound checkbox at the
Yeah,
very...
I know it's. I did it earlier on. It's minimized now.
If that is not working, what we can do is we can just play the video for you here with the audio. But
it worked earlier on. I can't see this in the Zoom settings. Zoom, why you forsake me? I can't find this. Yeah, if you could play it, that would work.
Sure.
It doesn't give me that option anyway. Let me try.
That's
There
okay.
you go. I could heard it on your side.
I will just play that video for you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
We can see a crypto degenerate in his natural habitat. He rejects proven safe strategies in favor of being an ape, buying tops and selling bottoms time and time again, demolishing his hard-earned gains, ruining his chances of accumulating generational wealth. Trading is a hard game to play, but what if you didn't have to play it? The Dalai Lama once said, disciplined smart contract-based investment strategies lead to happiness. Undisciplined degeneracy leads to suffering. It is time to silence the inner degenerate. Introducing Mindful, portfolio alignment for degens. Mindful was created by a team of DeFi degens. They know what it's like to get wrecked when the lizard brain takes over. With this new platform, you can adopt strategies to manipulate DCA into assets, rebalance your portfolio, and take profits without emotion taking over. Unlike other portfolio rebalancing tools, Mindful incorporates set and forget DCA strategies and automatic profit taking. Users also collect fees from Balancer by depositing funds in a chakra, and the system is completely trustless. And now, let us venture onto the platform to see how it works. This is the Mindful dashboard. Here you can view all of your current chakras. Interactive charts show you the performance of your chakras over time. DCA and profit-taking strategies can be edited or even paused if the user deems it necessary. You can also make deposits and take funds from your chakras at any time. However, Mindful recommends that you don't let your monkey mind succumb to FOMO. Trust your plan. The Asset Breakdown tab details the composition of a chakra. Here you can see your current holdings, asset allocations, and every token's price performance. A full history of the actions taken by your chakra strategy is also available so that you can examine its performance in greater detail and of course be ready for tax season. Creating a new chakra is simple. Give it a fund name and then select up to 8 different assets. Remember, chakras are only as strong as their weakest asset. So be sensible. Once you are happy with your tokens, you can move on to setting up your allocations. Your chakra will automatically maintain these ratios, so you won't need to worry about rebalancing your portfolio. Next, you will have to set up your initial contribution. You can do single asset entry or enter using the exact assets of the ratios you specified above. The final step is to set up a DCA and profit-taking strategy. Specify how much you want to DCA in and how often you want to do it. Then set up the parameters for how much profit to take and when to take it. Now you are ready to go. Wonderful, isn't it? I can feel my chakras aligning already. So how does it all work? Every chakra is controlled via a unique balancer pool. When the conditions are met to DCA or take profits, an automatic relay executes the buy or sell transaction, receiving a 0.3% fee for their troubles. To avoid slippage, our interactions with the balancer pool use multi-asset deposits and withdrawals. The Mindful proxy contract then trades these assets into the required tokens on Uniswap and sends them directly to the user's wallet. As a part of their degeneracy minimizing philosophy, the Mindful team has decided not to test in production. Instead, they plan on using any prize money from the ETHOnline hackathon to have their contracts audited. Now that's mindful behavior. Ready to learn more? Go to mindful.cash and prepare to silence your inner degenerate.
That was our wonderful first demo for today. Maybe
Round of applause for that video. How did you guys get David Attenborough to narrate it?
Yeah, we were
He's on
honored that he
Fiverr.
would join us for the video. Sorry, Matthias.
That was very fun.
I'll let our judges kick it off with the first set of comments or questions.
Okay, so my comments. I mean, I'd love to hear, what Sid and Dmitriy have to think. But I'm still kind of like, who did all the marketing and the memeing on that? Because you guys like really tuned in and over delivered there. So I think that's really great. And I wanted to chat about that for a second.
That'd be me and Liesel. Yeah, we did this. We're kind of big on the meme front of things. We did it for another project as well, and
yeah. Really engaging and really amazing copy and understanding like your demographics. So kudos to that.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, so maybe I could jump in with a question. I assume you could do this with all ERC20s, but what's the kind of space of assets that someone could use to create these? I guess what do you call it?
Yeah, so you could use any ERC20 that's traded on Uniswap pretty much, or alternatively on Balancer. These are basically like Balancer smart pools, the same way that their current exchanges are set up now. You wouldn't want to put in any tokens that have like a rebalancing or rebasing mechanism. So like Aave's ADI or like YAMS wouldn't work, but that's because those aren't compatible with Balancer pools in any case. But anything in which there's liquidity on Uniswap would work just fine.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And do you think that the ideal assets are the ones that have a sufficient amount of liquidity? I guess, could anything happen if it's a very thinly traded asset, and how that affect the strategy?
I mean, I think it would be similar to any kind of AMM pool where you have an asset that loses value and you end up holding that bad asset. So you don't want to be putting like shit coins in these funds. Ideally, it would be similar to like a pool 2 scenario, with normal yield farming where you end up just holding all of the other coin. So I would say like, the goal with this was really to create a portfolio of like blue chip assets, but you could put like some other type things in there. Like in the demo, we put Pickle in the fund, and I think that's kind of fine, but I wouldn't want to put something that's going to get rug pulled, because then you're going to just end up holding all of that asset.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Got it. Yep, that makes sense. Thanks.
And just to add to that, so we plan on integrating into the UI a sort of warning if something doesn't have enough liquidity, or if it's being traded very thinly, just to make sure that people are trading mindfully and making their portfolios as strong as possible.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting application of a balancer pool here. Good stuff.
Folks, amazing demo. Really loved it. Everything from the memes to the product functionality. Quick question. I'm looking at the Gurus feature. Did you all build that out, or is that like a future roadmap item?
That was a dream item. We didn't quite get to that, so we kind of focused on the core functionality. But the idea with that is basically if you can take like set protocols like copy trading, you should be able to do something similar with a distribution in a chakra. So it's like more personalized than set protocol stuff, because you can still copy those initial allocations and then potentially copy like the DCA entering strategies and the exiting strategies. But yeah, the initial version doesn't have that.
Got it. Thank you.
Is there, Kartik, I don't know, is there a way that we can kind of like get access to that video or play a little bit? I'm still like learning the G-Gen ropes myself, so I'd love to kind of dive in a little bit more as well. But yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, from your score sheet, you can click on the name and it's a link, and they'll take you to the.
Oh, of course. You guys are Perfect. So clever. Great. Awesome.
Well, there are no more questions from the judges. Maybe I'll ask one. How do I get my next ETHGlobal to be narrated? How'd you guys get the narration working out? I want to know the service or how that happened. I just want to do that same thing for the next thing for ETHGlobal.
Yeah, there's a website called Vocodes, VO.codes, and they have like I think it's some sort of neural net kind of thing. They have a lot of voices. I was debating between SpongeBob or David Attenborough.
Well, I'm glad that you.
David Attenborough was the winner for sure. I just saw his documentary that he just did recently. It's so on point.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was a little bit of inspiration there. Might have been in the head at the time.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you so
Just
much.
to quickly add in as well, Ashley, you asked about finding more about it. We wrote a Medium article as well, which you can find linked on our showcase profile if you want to read more.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Good to see you too.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
well,
That was great.
thank you so much for being our first demo. And with that, we are ready to move on to our next team, and that is Project Vault Alarm. So, Ramiro, I know you're on the call, so whenever you're ready, feel free to share your video.
Hello. Hello and welcome to my ETHOnline 2020 project submission. This is Safe Vaults. My name is Ramiro Gonzalez. I'm a full stack developer from Argentina. So for this hackathon, my project was an iOS app that lets users track any vaults from the Maker protocol. So my idea was to let users show information about their vaults, their positions as quickly as possible, even try the new iOS widgets, and will alert users in case there's a liquidation risk. So go into the app. Basically, we show the price from some collaterals, and we let the users track any vault that they want. It's as simple as entering, for example, the ID of the vault, and we can display the information that it might be useful. So we let the users activate or deactivate alarms, see the price, the ratio, the collateral, and the depth they have taken. So let's add, for example, another one with a different collateral. So we basically try to alert the user in case there's a risk of a liquidation. Having access also to the oracles from Maker, it's also nice to let the users see all the prices for the different collaterals, and not only show the current price, but also the next price, as the oracle is updated once an hour. And this is especially what I wanted to build and try and test, was the new widgets, so that users can, with a simple swipe, even when the phone is blocked, can see and be assured that their position is collateralized and is not as at risk. So basically, I wanted to challenge myself and try the new SwiftUI. That's basically what was built the app with. Also, there are some calls to the blockchain, to the mainnet, and some public APIs, and some local notifications. What I need to do next is be sure that alerts work. We don't want any users trusting too much in an app that it's not completely tested. Well, of course, publish the app, get some feedback, and continue building. If the users find it worth it, maybe the app can also integrate some other protocols. So that was my project. I had fun building this this small app, and I hope you like it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ramiro. I'll let our judges kick off with any questions.
Nice. I could kick off. First of all, I think this is a really important project to work on. I think we all need more risk management tools, and obviously no one wants to lose money. So really like the overall focus here. I'm curious, what happens when it's below a certain threshold? Is there any functionality now or plan to potentially be able to top that up, whether automatically or through the mobile UI?
I was trying to, make it sound like an alarm. Basically, I had some yield farming friends that wake up every 2 hours just to check their phone, just to see if price didn't went down too much. So basically, I don't know. I know it's not recommended, but I sleep with my phone as an alarm near my bed. So why don't you just make a sound whenever there is a risk.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And can you apply this beyond Maker? Can you do this for like compound positions or?
Yeah, I was also checking Aave and Compound, but I knew more about Maker. And also was what some colleagues were recommending me to do because it was useful for them.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, it was just a test. I was sort of hacking and I was just trying to push myself and try something new.
Got it.
Build something useful without making something completely strange.
Totally. Cool. Thanks.
Did you work on this yourself, or did you have anyone else as a part of your team?
No, I have some friends that guide me or just test the app and give me some feedback. But yeah, I code everything by myself.
Got it. Okay. And you did the design as well, or your friends helped with that, or?
No, I copied a little bit some apps that already exist, but yeah,
Cool.
It doesn't have much of a design, to be honest, but it's just as clean as possible.
It's at least straightforward. So I mean, design in terms of like, being a little bit less complicated in terms of interacting with it. Sid, I'm kind of curious your thoughts too, coming from Coinbase.
Yeah, I think it's a super useful feature. I know there's a lot of people that would really like to have a quick alarm that warns them when they're about to get wiped out. I was just curious, actually, Ramiro, great project. What was the hurdle you encountered with getting the alarm to work?
So what I actually needed to do was to run some background tests, some background threads on when the phone is locked and the app is not even running. And iOS does that in a weird way. I just can't set like a cron work like every minute update. I have to like ask how many times I want to run that background app, and iOS kind of in an intelligent way just try to find out how it's more optimized, and it doesn't make all the requests I want to do. But maybe I was trying to, as the protocol updates only once an hour, maybe just try to run it every 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be by the second.
So do you have an idea?
Background tasks? Yep, sorry.
So I would just say, do you have an idea of how you might change the architecture to make it work and actually get live alarms?
I was just trying. I did have some experience with the previous version of Swift, and as a full stack, I wanted to try something new, and I was just trying. And I thought the hackathon was a nice opportunity to try to type code and see what was going to happen.
Yeah, that's great.
I do have to get more. I do have to invest more time if I wanted to publish the app, to make sure that if there's an optimal way to do so.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ramiro. And yeah, I guess I hope you continue building this thing, because I would definitely love to try this out on my phone. So with that, we are ready to move on to our next demo. That is Team Tide's Gas Saver. So Corbin and team, I think you're already on this panelist. So whenever you're ready, feel free to kick off with your video.
Thanks.
Hello, I'm Flavio. I'm from Brazil, and I will show the solution that I built. Okay.
Flavio, I think you forgot to check the audio box, so we're not seeing.
Sorry?
We're not getting audio, so would you mind sharing it again with the
Okay.
audio?
Hello, my name is Flavio Gouveia, and I will share with you the project I built at Global Hackathon. The problem I got was the issue of gas in Ethereum transactions. This creates some problems for users. The user has to deal with unpredictable gas prices. He also needs to buy Ether for room transactions. And the high prices drive away many users. For this reason, I decided to create Tides, a USDC gas saver. The main concept of Tides is to enable users to save Ether on sending transfers or enable users to earn USDC calling these transfers. Imagine the example of the frog. Frog uses USDC and he wants to transfer his USDCs to someone else, or maybe deposit it on a long-term DeFi protocol. He is no hurry to complete this transaction. Then he can use Tides to help him save his transfer fees. Once connected, he can create an approval to be later called by another user. To store the approval, he has to define the recipient of the transfer, the amount of the transfer, how much he wants to pay as tip, and a deadline for approval to be active. After that, he must confirm the two messages in his wallet, one for the main transaction and other for the tip payment. Once he's signed, his approval already appears on our list and can be called by another user who wants to pay the gas for the transactions and receive the tip in USDC. For each complete transfer, the user who sent the transaction receives in USDC the corresponding tip for the transaction. This is done by Tides smart contract, which is responsible for receiving the types and send it to the user who paid the transaction's gas fees. In short, it works like this. The sender sends the two future transactions. After this, they are stored together in the approval storage servers. Then another person, the whale, selects as many sets of the approvals as he wants and calls the function multiple transfer with authorization. And the contract executes the transfer in sequence. First, it sends the type to the Tides smart contracts, and then the main transaction to the recipient chosen by the frog. This string ensures that the tip will be paid before the main transaction is executed. At the end, the balance of the smart contract that received the types is sent to the whale. This is just the beginning and much remains to be done. In this hackathon, I created this concept, the smart contract, and tested in Robston testnet. I also created a demo app using Angular. The next steps are create a service to store approvals and facilitate the sending of bulk transactions. Maybe this will be created in a layer 2 of Ethereum. After the tests, Tides will go to the mainnet, and in the very near future, it can be used even for deposits and withdrawals in DeFi protocols. That's it for now. I hope you liked it.
Amazing. That's a lot that you were able to kind of focus on. So I'll let our three judges kind of come in and ask any questions.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, gas fees have really kind of been the bane of everyone's existence in the space. So certainly there needs to be creative solutions. I'm curious, given this architecture, who you think, like specific users or specific verticals that you think can really take advantage of how you've structured Tides?
I don't know. I didn't think about this yet, but I think this will be useful for people that want to sign transaction and they're not hurt to complete this, like a deposit on a lending pool for a stable coin like USDC. Long-term investors, I think this is a good way to save Ether on sending transactions, because USDC permits this in their version 2, and I think that that's the other ways that the people can pay less for the gas. And one way that I created in this project permits other person to earn some token USDC, helping other people to saving Ether. Both sides wins in this game.
Cool. Thank you.
Great. And I'm curious, and also echo what Ashley said around gas fees, of course. This is something that it's pretty easy to tell someone would want. How would the UX look like from someone who is calling it? Do you have a sense of what that would look like from the other side?
Yes, I think this the people can select and filter the transactions that was sent by the users who want to transfer, and the person can calculate if the transaction will be profitable. I think I will be something like this, a list, and the person can select the transactions that want to send. And one feature that I think it's it's to calculate the gas in Ether and compare this with the tips that they can be received sending these transactions.
Yep.
I don't know if I was clear.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yes.
Hey, Flavio, thanks. Great project. What happens when if users underpay the tip and it's not enough to cover the gas? Does it just sit around and no one will pick it up?
Sorry, when users select the transactions, they wait the transactions. I think it's just one step in their browser wallet.
And do users they decide how much they want to tip? Is that equivalent to the gas that they would have paid otherwise?
No, no. In this version, the user can set the gas tip as he wants, and the other person can select or not the transaction. Okay, I don't know if I answered your question, but for me, it was a huge challenge to do this. I started as developer about half a year, and I'm practice English in this hackathon, but it was an amazing experience. I'm very happy to be here.
We're super happy to have you too.
Yeah, you did great.
Yeah, we're really excited that you chose to kind of participate, and I hope you can continue finishing the whole project and everything you wanted to do. And of course, if you ever need any help, any of us are available on Discord, whether that's technical or any other sort of help.
Nice.
So continue building, and thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you, Flavio.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. So next up, we are ready for our third demo and our fourth demo, and that is Project NewFi. So I know the team's here. So whenever you're ready, team, feel free to start with your video. And I see some familiar faces, so it's great to see everybody here as well.
Share my screen. Hello, I'm John Calabrese from NewFi. In the past few months, the DeFi space has introduced several innovations, including vaults, farming, and pooling. A lot to keep up with. Although this continues to add interest to the space, a divide still exists between the typical investor and the pros. As an investor, you need to do your research. This involves watching tutorials by people like DeFi Dad, reading articles about a new project, scratching your head a few times, the list goes on. All of these steps are absolutely essential should you venture into these new projects on your own. But NewFi believes that there's a way to outsource some of the due diligence to the experts that can dedicate themselves to the vetting process, saving you valuable time, energy, and money. Growing your net worth has never been this easy. Let's explain the inner workings of the project and take a look at what's under the hood. There are two sides to NewFi, an investor experience and a manager experience. Let's start with the manager, who is tasked with creating DeFi and crypto pools that investors will be able to access on their side. When creating a pool, we simplify the universe of digital assets into two categories, stable and volatile, which makes the NewFi system super easy to use for investors of all levels. Here, the manager expertise comes into play when they select a strategy. Unlike other manager-led platforms, strategy types are not just token purchases. We include vault strategies that earn yield on the underlying positions like Yearn and MStable. This is a huge advantage of the NewFi system, where we're able to grow the pool's asset base without relying on price speculation or appreciation. Now that a pool has been created, let's flip over to the investor side. Investors start by finding a trusted manager who they think will outperform their peers over time, or who they have a personal connection with. You can sort and filter managers based on the pool size, amount invested by the manager, and of course, performance. Once ready to invest, they can allocate USDC to a stable pool or ETH into a volatile pool. They confirm the transaction in their Web3 wallet and they're in. That's all it takes. NewFi generates tokens in relation to the amounts that the investor owns using a pre-existing formula used in the Yearn vaults. That token can be spent or used wherever it has value, Uniswap, staking, wherever. Behind the scenes, we are sending the pool funds to the platform that the manager decides to use. As the investment pool grows or shrinks with underlying investment returns, the token will either appreciate or decline in value. The manager is responsible for updating that strategy as new and potentially higher yielding opportunities become available. Last, additional investors do not affect the price of the token, so users don't get diluted with more pool interest. When an investor wants to exit their relationship with their manager, they simply return their tokens and get a portion of the pool assets back minus any transaction costs. We've had a great time building NewFi during this ETHOnline hack. We are a truly global team and bring diverse skills that contributed to the achievements you see here. But we have a lot of work to do. We are preparing the platform for further investment strategies, but also want to open up the platform to governance mechanisms, which will control the addition and details of any new strategies employed. More details will be explained further in the coming months. We hope you think NewFi is cool and helpful to the ecosystem. Should you have any questions about the platform, we encourage you to check us out on social and Discord. We can't be successful without a community. Thank you so much.
Amazing. That was a really well communicated demo. So I'll let our judges jump into questions and feedback.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for that. I was like, wow, this is like a very succinct pitch. Curious if you guys have had anybody, like, have you tested it out? Has anybody been using it? Like, who's managing? What have the results been? Is it like in the wild right now?
At the moment, it's not necessarily in the wild. We still want to test the contracts more, like rapid unit tests, and make sure that all of the calculations are correct. I think like when we're running local tests, on the tokens were not calculating correctly, things like that. So it's not in the wild yet, but we did have it on a local fork. So
cool. Do you have plans for like who would be the ideal managers you guys would go after, like first users?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think we actually saw that presentation by Superviz about like ETH2 and how they have a token related to like watching that tutorial. It could be really good for people. We saw in that manager view, like if we could show tokens or you know, any proof of attendance tokens that you might be like, okay, you actually know what you're doing. Like that's you know, credentials or something like that. But really anyone could spin these up, and really we want to make sure that there's a track record that they establish over time.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Cool. And I think on my side, I think this is a really timely project, given all of the harvest issues, but in general, like all of these opportunities that have popped up. I'm curious how the the strategies are actually executed in the background? Are you envisioning this to be routed to something like a Harvest or a Yearn, or are you, or is the idea to actually implement the strategies that they're doing, like farming Curve or other assets under the hood?
Yeah, so at the moment, how it works under the hood, we basically have essentially a whitelist of what they can invest into. So there wouldn't be something risky on there. Obviously that's centralized because we're controlling that. And that's why we're talking about opening up to a governance for token, so that people can just decide what strategies are good. And then we can add it to the protocol and then everyone's happy. That's kind of the idea anyways.
And are the strategies like a particular pool in Yearn, or are you looking at that strategy and saying, let's have the same flavor, but under NewFi?
No, yeah, so it's directly into Yearn itself. We don't create that. So all we do is we have two distinct pools where it's just a bunch of the investor assets, and then the advisor can put it into Yearn's pool directly or in stable. That's what we have at the moment. Those are the two we have at the moment, but hopefully we can expand that.
Cool, that makes sense. Thanks.
Great project, guys. Quick question. Did you think through what it would look like to actually have a marketplace of different investors and how users would be able to choose between them?
Sorry, marketplace of investors?
Yeah.
Yeah, like for users to pick from different investors and like make a decision on who they should trust with their money.
Yeah, that's, we have discussed ideas around that. It's actually quite cool because I think in a previous round, people were asking like, well, how do you trust these advisors and stuff? And what we would like to do is open it up to as much transparency as possible. So someone could say they're the best advisor, but then they have this huge track record that's terrible, right? And yeah, that's the idea, like having this open source platform where everyone can take a look at advisors, compare them, contrast them, and we're thinking of ways to improve tooling around that, so you can actually compare or do what you want. Hopefully chat to advisors. Yeah.
This gives me, I know we have like no time left, but this gives me kind of like Melonport vibes, and I don't know if you guys are super familiar, but it would be interesting to think if there's some sort of like collaboration or way to leverage insights with one another. But I know time's up, so thank you for the presentation. It's awesome.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Thanks, team. With that, we are ready to go into the demo for our next team, and that is BlockSat. So Tony, I believe you have been promoted, so whenever you're ready, feel free to kick off with their demo. And I think as a note for our judges, we are skipping the one before this because of some technical difficulties, so please make sure that you're looking at BlockSat or BlockSat. Tony, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, can you see my screen okay?
You can.
Yeah, the audio might be a bit quiet, but I think it picks up later on. Space, the next frontier. As humanity strives to make itself an interplanetary species by 2024, blockchain technology is poised to help us remain connected. Welcome to BlockSat. Where blockchain meets space tech. Powered by Thera, Ethereum, and NASA, our blockchain oracle is a step in bringing together interstellar travel and blockchain. So this is our demo site. You simply click try our service, and this will take you to our event-based asset pricing service. You need to make sure that your MetaMask is connected or your Web3 wallet and your address is available. You then choose a test event and you choose one of the which is available. Our service is backed by our smart contract, which is deployed on the RingB network. So you need to make sure that your wallet is working off the RingB network, not the mainnet. And then you simply click find price on event. Once you've done that, simply click confirm as per MetaMask request, and that'll go away and talk to the contract to determine the most appropriate response to the request. We can check our transaction on Etherscan. Might have been a bit fast on that. However, it has been included in the block, so it's happening. And that concludes our demo of our cloud service. And I think there we go. Our transaction is just come through.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just Sonia, I feel like just so that we don't do you any injustice, it might be helpful if you're able to also verbally explain sort of what you wanted to do and kind of how it works, and just kind of spend on that, so we can also make sure that any video and AV troubles we got are offsetted.
Yeah, sure. So basically, the service that we built, or at least that I've built, what it does is that it brings together NASA event data. So things like wildfires, well, natural events, typhoons, storms, and it basically uses the Teller smart contracts to determine what asset prices were on that particular day. What that allows is that is for smart contract developers to then be able to hook into real world events. So for example, if you've got an insurance contract, which is pricing based on, for example, the habanero of wildfires or typhoons happening, you know, in Forest Asia, our system, what it does is that it will determine the event, the time that it happened, and then it will go to Teller and find out what the most accurate price for a particular asset is. And then based off that, your contract can then carry on execution with the actual correct price, but with an awareness of, you know, this actually happened. We've also included some notification code. So that allows you to actually create event-based triggers. So as we update our Oracle with the latest information about what's going on in the world, you can then hook your smart contract into that. And then your smart contract will be able to kick off an execution based on a particular category of events that you were actually listening to. The idea is that because the space industry is currently targeted to be like 10% of the global economy by 2060, what we wanted to do is begin that integration of space data, because our system will also, well, it also includes things like, you know, solar flares, which would affect things like if you've got a constellation deployed, right? And you've got insurance contracts based on off that, or you've got maintenance contracts based off that, or, you know, production schedules. Today, you'd find it very difficult to create an automation which basically independently understands the real world and, you know, that, oh yeah, there's been a solar flare, it's taken out 10 of our satellites. With our service, you'd be able to get that understanding and then, you know, trigger that automation, that autonomous behavior, you know, using the blockchain, which basically allows you to do even more sophisticated things in terms of a business and commercial sense based off the back of it. Does that help?
That was a wonderful context. So I'll let our judges kick in with questions and comments.
Thank you, Kartik, for asking for the explanation, because I feel like it was so much more succinct when you said it. It was, I think, a little difficult to hear with the video, but badass. Also, shout out to that Near sweatshirt.
I know, it was last minute.
So you're living in the future in like a couple ways here, right? In terms of like, you're talking about solar flares taking out satellites and like how Oracle data is going to feed. Like, what do you envision as the use case right now? Or do you see this as kind of like building the foundation for something more in the future? I'm just curious of like the current practical application.
The most immediate use case would be the California wildfires, which we had, I think, a couple of months back. So in that case, an example would be that, you know, you've got fire departments, right, which need funding in order to be able to deal with events like that. And it's not just any sort of funding, it's a special type of funding which needs to go through a whole raft of approvals because it's usually quite significant. So that takes quite a lot of time, which means that, you know, in terms of the processes and, you know, the money getting there and then the things you have to buy off the back of that getting there, it's very inefficient, right?
So with a blockchain-based system using our service and that sensitization to, oh, we've actually got a wildfire happening in these particular coordinates, you're then able to create a smart contract, which basically allows you to then coordinate your entire supply chain. So as soon as that event has come out, it triggers a whole series of smart contracts, which alert, federal finance, which also alerts, the supply chain to, the scale of the fire and, what's going on with it. And then it basically, everybody gets to kick in, at moment zero, as opposed to what happens today is that, the things that your fire department needs, that the community actually needs, it's going to take like 3 or 4 days before it actually gets there because so many people have to be in the decision-making process. So what this does is that it takes that information and then it turns it into highly actionable, automated information whereby you can build very efficient services that actually, deliver help to people as and when they need it.
Amazing. I know we have a minute left, so I won't take up more time. I'll let Sid and Dmitriy if they have questions too.
Oh, just one question on my side. I'm curious, why did you decide to use Teller versus other Oracle solutions?
The reason I decided to use Teller versus other Oracle solutions is because their interface is pretty straightforward and it's pretty simple. And in terms of this, one of the key things about it is that I didn't want to waste time trying to figure out, the various different aspects of the actual interface. What I wanted was something that'll give me a succinct, this was the time, this was the asset, this was the amount of money that, that asset was priced at, right? Because what that then allows me to do is basically take the data I'm getting from NASA and eventually, other space agencies, integrate that and then allow for, very sophisticated notifications and, information that would enable people to build even more sophisticated things off the back of that.
Got it. Cool.
Hey, Tony, just a follow-up question real quick. You said that you add price data for assets. I understand the value of taking like real world events that happen somewhere in space and feeding that to the blockchain so you have a record of that event happening. Why do you also record price data?
Well, we don't record the price data. What we do is we ask Teller for that price data because what Teller does is that they've got a bidding mechanism for price data. So they come up with I think it's the best medium price for a particular asset. So XRP, USD, et cetera. So the thing is that if you are working in a particular context, say crisis response, I just explained, what happens is that, you need to have that price information to be able to deploy services once you have that awareness of the event. So basically what it does is that it gives you the awareness of the event and it gives you the price of, a particular asset that you may be transacting in. So commercially, what that allows you to do is set up an independent smart contract working in that particular asset. And then it does all the necessary calculations and adjustments that it needs to do at that time, right? So yeah, basically your commercials are now in line with what's going on in the real world in a way that you never could before and in a way that you can't really do with today's current Web 2 technology.
Got it. Thank you. Really cool project. Space age. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks again, Tony. Yeah, I hope to see this thing in practice very soon. So with that, we are ready to move on to our next demo. And
thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
For our judges, BlockSat is the one after the next one on your list. So we are skipping personal tokens as a project. So with that, we are ready to move on to our next team, and that is Protekt Thera. So I think they have been promoted, and whenever you're ready, feel free to start the video.
Me? Okay. Hey, what's up, ETHGlobal? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay. So let's start the demo. Hope you guys have fun.
Thera, it's an answer to the rainforest crisis, okay? So blockchain is infinite, meaning an asset is forever, unstoppable, and unique, like the Amazonas rainforest. Each Thera is a rainforest type tree among 150 plus types. So Thera is one of these trees, and it's a token created on Ethereum blockchain. So it hasn't been deployed yet to mainnet. It's been tested on all nets. So I'm pretty happy with that idea. But before launching something so incredible, we must make it right. So how does it work? What's the first phase of launching Thera, right? So by launching Thera, we help a liquid market to happen. So objects, culture, music, art, tradition, accessories, clothing, everything that's non-perishable products in the Amazon, correct? So users can log in and enter a digital 8-bit like forest, and they can then have the ability to purchase said products in a decentralized market way. So this is the first phase that I was actually thinking when I entered ETHGlobal, and I got the opportunity to meet Leandro from São Paulo, and I told him about some ideas, and he was a gamer, and he kind of believes that you know, we can gamify it, and we kind of like just started talking about it, and we just thought, okay, why not? So if users can create, and you know, we can use web dots on Flutter, or if we, I don't know, if we go really hardcore, maybe work with Unity and use Unity Web3. So users can create this avatar and digitally play in a forcing ambience, and they can visit a solar punk like city, where they can then socialize with, you know, like 8-bit avatars and players. So Thera would like actually create a balance of real trees planted, okay, but they would also serve in game. So some ideas like, you know, people collecting different avatar-like trees, and users can visit this market, and in a decentralized way, we promote the sellings of Amazonian products. And this will actually help the economy here. And this would kind of look like, you know, the website, if the person doesn't want to actually see it like in game, and just wants to buy a bracelet or buy something, you can see it in a more serious way. But the idea is to promote this in a Web3 fashion, but also in a world-class fashion, so people around the world can actually move forward, okay? So what can be added if we win ETHGlobal? Creation of a team and search responses to help platform and make this possible to all have fun, you know? So we understand that gaming is not easy. We would need to create servers around Europe, America, and actually promote this to everybody, so everybody can have fun socializing with their avatars while we're forcing the Amazon. Creation of a headquarter for game and app development, not in the Amazonas. So what I have learned is that in the Amazon, we don't have a lot of developers ready for this kind of creation, this kind of uniqueness, and you know, like special thing. So the last thing would be marketing campaign to facilitate the idealization of a united helping.
And that's it. That's my 4 minutes. So yeah, I'm here in the middle of the Amazonas, and I've been hacking Ethereum for 2 years. So after all this time, I'm really happy to participate for the first time in ETHGlobal and actually divide with you guys this possibility. And I leave it for questions, and you guys can ask me anything you guys want about how it's made, what's the token I'm using, what are the interfaces, and what I'm going to use to actually bring up the balance and send Theras among avatars and users. Hit me up.
Cool. Hey,
Well,
yeah.
okay,
Go
ahead, Dmitriy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think that a lot of those questions were something I had in mind. I think in general, I like the concept of trying to overlay a way to map the real world and the physical world too. Its counterparts on chain. Who keeps the registry of tree ownership and transfer in the real world?
Okay, so that question, I actually, when it hit me, you know, like why, like if I have a tree and I can enter into the game, I can get the same Thera and send it to another user, and the user can also enter the game. Well, when I thought about that, maybe the possibilities of actually, users sending in the credentials to enter in the game, I didn't think it was a bad idea. It was actually kind of like Netflix, So I'm here gaming, like, okay, I'm tired of Thera. I have 10 Theras. I'm going to give my best friend a tree so he can play with me and all that idea. And about the storage, like in game of actually registering the tree, in the beginning, I thought I could do NFT, but when I reforced the Amazon, because I actually worked this here in the Amazon, it's very hard to keep up. Like sometimes we don't have the 2,000 seeds of acai or the 1,000 seeds of Huruchi. So I just thought it would be a lot easier for just make it ERC20. The user knows he's actually helping because it's a very complicated system. You have to enroot the tree and all of that. So for storage in game, I really wanted to make it like the user enters with his MetaMask, and actually not even MetaMask. You can use any of the other wallets that Fuse gives us because Fuse is connected with Flutter. So I think Leandro sent me the link that he's been using. Yeah. So Fuse.io Wallet Corp, it gives us the ability to actually use this Web3 dot to bring in balance, send, and off-chain transactions. So with these simple things, we can make the game dynamically, So if user has a tree, he has a Thera, okay, he's playing. He doesn't need a Thera to play, actually. The idea is that people can just log in, play, and then at one point, just like any other game, they're just like, okay, now I want a skin, now I want to pump up my avatar. And that's when we get it. That's when we can actually bring in the player a little bit closer to Thera, and he actually reports the tree. So it's open source. We're not going to be storing in a. Sorry, I got lost in the woods. I'm Brazilian. Sorry. Okay, so actually, when he enters with his MetaMask, his game is logged in, so he has all his trees, and every time he sends a Thera back into the system, that comes in. Is the game totally decentralized? Now, that can't be happening because it's going to be very costly and it's going to be expensive to the players. So we just want to make it open world, community-like. The player can have a tree. This will, since it's bringing up from the balance, he will have certain benefits. He can then send the tree to a wallet, and that's going to be corresponding with with the user's wallet, and that will bring him other benefits, maybe a special hat or a special thing in his avatar. And the game is divided into 3 places. So basically you have the user interface where you can be planting trees and doing little quests. And then there's the Solar Punk City area where you can be seeing people from around the world that are part of this community. And it's a decentralized community. So everybody can talk about their opinions. They can promote reforestation worldwide. They can promote good things, And we're working on a third interface where it's actually a game. So there's the user interface where he's harvest mooning, he's planting trees, taking care of the little animals, and then he goes to the community and it's decentralized, so he can talk up socially, and then he can actually play online on an MMORPG where everybody can just everybody's playing on the same level. It doesn't matter if you have a hat or not. You're just playing an RPG with your friends. Kind of like LoL, when you install League of Legends, you're level 1. So we were thinking of grasping this idea, So there's no difference between a player that's playing for 10 years and a player that just came in. He can enjoy it, have fun, and have a chance to win against somebody on the real game, So basically, it would be these 3 parts.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was a lot. But I think we probably have some more questions here, but I think we're at time. But that was
no, please.
Yeah, I have plenty of questions, but I'm appreciative. I just wanted to say thank you. I love when people are thinking of like creative ways to increase like biodiversity, and so thank you so much for that.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, very heartwarming project. Thank you.
Thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, please send it in chat and I'll answer. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Kisses. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Hi. Coming from the Amazon, amazing. That's so great.
Yeah, you guys want to see a picture?
Live from the rainforest.
Give me 1 second. Okay, one more.
So while Corbin is ready, we'll.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, this is the Amazon. It's very big, very huge trees.
So cool. We gotta save it.
That's why I tell everybody Take care, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank
and make
you.
questions.
Thanks for demoing. And with that, we are ready to move on to our next demo, and that is Protekt Protocol with Corbin. So Corbin, whenever you're ready, feel free to kick off with your screen share.
Hey guys, hope everything's going well. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm Corbin, and this is my submission to the ETHGlobal hackathon. I built Protekt Protocol, which is a new insurance protocol for the DeFi space that's completely open and composable. So just as Uniswap allows anyone to create a spot market for any token, Protekt Protocol allows anyone to create a liability market on top of any smart contract that's holding value. I talked to a lot of trading shops about getting into DeFi. A lot are deploying capital, but they're still hesitant to commit even more capital because of the underlying risk of an exploit or centralization risk to an underlying DeFi protocol. So I built Protekt Protocol to solve that. Just as the traditional world has the FDIC, which ensures all bank deposits, Protekt Protocol is a peer-to-peer solution that allows you to ensure any deposits against any DeFi protocol or smart contract. It differs from pretty much everything else that's out there in the market today because it's completely open, composable to all. Also, fees are extracted from protocol rewards for the deposited capital. So there's no buying cover. There's no buying cover for a year or for a 6-month period. Basically, if you deposit capital into the insurance side of the protocol, you are covered block by block, which is kind of how DeFi should operate. On the flip side, there are stakers or shield miners that can deposit any capital. Could be ETH, could be DAI, could be USDC, and they start accruing rewards for that deposited capital. And then their deposits are actually on the hook if something were to happen to the underlying protocol. So let's quickly look at how this works. I have the smart contracts repo here, so please feel free to check that out. It's a two-sided market where folks are buying coverage from this P token contract. Stakers are staking into the Shield contract and earning those rewards. That staked capital can also be reinvested into another third-party DeFi protocol via some of the same functionality that's in the Yearn.finance contracts. And then the fee contract and then, the fee model and then the claims process are completely configurable on here. So I built these smart contracts as part of the hackathon. And then I also built a front end forking Yearn once again that's hosted at protectprotocol.com. And you can see a couple examples for Compound, for Uniswap LP pools, and then for Aave for how this can work. We even have the ability to, if you want to get protected, you can request that right here on the upper right corner. So I encourage everybody to check out the web application. It's only functioning locally, so you can't actually contribute capital, but you can get a gist of how the protocol works, and I invite any feedback and your thoughts. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks, Corbin. That was a really creative solution, so I'll let our judges jump in.
Okay, I can start. Again, extremely timely. So of course, we need more solutions like this. Can you explain how you envision the claims process to happen? Is there some kind of Oracle solution that tells you when there's that there was a hack or a rug pull, or how is that kind of how does that process look like on the protocol side?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first point about the claims process is that it's completely configurable. So I think you're seeing this trend more and more within DeFi. Yearn.finance is a great example of you have this interface for what an investment strategy can represent, but then the underlying logic of that strategy can differ, based on your different approach. The claims manager is that exact same idea. So I define an interface for what the claims manager needs to do. You know, it needs to be able to submit a claim. It needs to investigate a claim for a certain period of time, and then it needs to initiate a payout. The actual way that that occurs can vary based on implementation, right? So the way it's done on most protocols today is it's a DAO vote. You know, you submit a claim, the DAO investigates, then there's potentially a payout. But with this interface, you could also have that controlled by a centralized party. You could, of course, have a DAO, or it could be completely smart contract governed, right? You could actually make a query to Compound and say, are my outstanding obligations higher than the collateral amount that I have in the protocol? Is that sustained for a longer period of time? If so, initiate the payout. So I want to allow for that type of customizable nature to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That flexibility is really nice because I think it opens up more kind of implementations of what this could look like. It's awesome.
Oh, that was some feedback. I'll defer to Sid if he has questions, because I know he's probably a little bit more into kind of DeFi. I have less, I think, deep expertise in this area.
Sure. Thanks, Ashley. I love the idea. You should ship it. How can you summarize what you think are the key improvements over, say, Open and Nexus Mutual?
Yeah, so taking Nexus Mutual into account, first of all, love what they've done. Big fan of the project, big fan of the folks. I do think that having something that's more open rather than having something where you actually have to purchase the token to participate is one big advantage. Also, being able to stake any type of asset to actually be able to contribute from the shield mining side. And then rather than, again, purchasing cover, it's trading in and out of a position, just being able to wrap something like CDI and you're automatically
protected. Good morning, everybody. We'll give everybody maybe 2 more minutes to join and then we'll get started. Thanks.
Not sure who that was, but
it's the aliens.
So I would say those are the main differences. And then again, something like Open, so this isn't hedging price risk, or it's not concerned with price at all. It's just protecting against smart contract hacks, using admin keys in a nefarious way, or if admin keys got stolen, and then also Oracle centralization as well.
So one more question. Do you see potential, given how open and permissionless this is there potential to use this as a shorting attack on projects, or taking any kind of aggressive negative exposure on projects?
Yeah, so that's a concept that comes up a lot. And there's also kind of the idea of it being used as a prediction market, right? So if I knew there was an exploit that was found in something like harvest.finance, for example, very timely, maybe I would take out the opposite position here because I knew that was going to be exploited eventually.
I'd like to go ahead and get started. Can everyone see my screen? Good. Okay, awesome.
Thanks,
happy, what's today?
Happening here.
It was playing on YouTube.
We don't have a long agenda. This is really kind of a check-in.
This is like the 1990s when your telephones could get crossed with someone else.
Before we were gonna.
Totally.
Sorry to cut you off, Corbin, but thanks for this, and I hope you keep working on it.
Thank you, Corbin.
Thanks, Corbin.
Pretty big space. So next up, we have OSMOsis as a team, and Jacob is here, and what I'll be doing is I'll be playing his video on my side, and then Jacob will be there to join for the Q&A piece. And also, just as a heads up, we will be taking a quick break after this demo. This is our halfway point, so we'll take a quick break and then we'll resume with the remaining half of our demos.
Hi, my name is Jacob, and I've been working on OSMOsis, a DeFi yield multiplier. I still miss the DeFi summer with food coins farming craziness where 3-digit yields were just a button click away. But there are still opportunities in DeFi, yet they require skills to manage token volatility, slippage, and impermanent loss. And it's a full-time job to monitor the market. No wonder most of the users prefer just to dump their coins on a lending pool and be happy with a small but hassle-free yield. In fact, over 80% of funds on Aave are lying idle. What if we could redirect those funds, allowing investors to scale their strategies and share profits with passive depositors? It could be done using credit delegation, a new feature offered by Aave. I decided to take it one step further, allowing depositors to delegate their unused collateral not to another person, but to a credit pool that manages accounting, risk, and rewards. Funds may be borrowed by a smart contract brokerage account and invested only in trusted protocols, in this case, Balancer and Mstable. Owners need to provide a margin, creating a buffer for price volatility and impermanent loss. The account is priced in real time using chaining oracles and could be liquidated if the value drops below a safe level. Let's take a look at the application. It is publicly available and all the contracts have been deployed to the Kovan network. Now I act as a user who wants to generate more yield on his Aave deposits. The interface is kept very simple as we target less sophisticated users. I can see how many A tokens I have, click on the delegate button and specify an amount to provide. After the transaction and approval have been mined, I can see my bonus yield. Let's switch the roles and imagine that I am a professional investor. I need to deploy a smart contract account with an initial margin. The interface is more complex. I can see my initial margin that matches total account value. Let's try to borrow some funds. I can see the solvency index, which is a ratio between the total account value and the borrowed amount, has been updated. When it is close to 100%, the funds could be forcibly repaid to protect the... I haven't invested yet, so my portfolio is under the water. Let's put some money into a balancer pool. Now the situation is better. It is important to notice that both yield and the costs are normalized to the total portfolio value, while the net is based on the initial margin. I still got some dollars left, so let me put them into a meta saving account. Now the net yield is higher, but the solvency ratio is still high above 100, so there is still a room for improvements to get to a 3-digit yield even during the autumn season.
Awesome. So that was a very interesting use of DeFi and a handful of other applications. So I know our judges are definitely going to have a lot of questions and clarifications on that. So I'll let them kick off with any comments.
Guys, thanks, Kartik. Once again, it was a great event. So I'm waiting for the questions.
Okay, I can start. Hey, Jacob, a really nice use of building blocks here. I think there's always a massive design space around integrating multiple protocols. Which balancer pools specifically are you envisioning that the user invests in? Because it looked like it didn't look like it was something specific. So I'm curious, where the APY comes from.
Yes, so currently I started with a single balancer pool, but obviously there is absolutely no limit. I'm able to support at the moment any pools that are built on top of assets that are priced by Chainlink. So it's about 30 pools out of the box, but definitely if there are more pricing oracles, I'm open to accommodate for any balancer pool. But I expect in practice that the stable coins are going probably to be most popular because there is a little volatility and more predictability on your yield.
Mm-hmm. Got it. That makes sense. And it looks like you're also integrating with MStable. Do you envision any other integrations that you think you could include here?
Yeah, totally. So adding another platform is quite easy because I need only a pricing function, a function to invest and redeem. So it's quite easy, a few lines of code, but then actually the best next candidate maybe will be obviously the Uniswap, which is very stable and gives you a predictable yield, maybe some new fancy tools like Pickle, I don't know, Sushi. It depends on the users.
Mm-hmm.
It was also interesting, I can architecture the solution so you can opt out from any platform that you do not fully trust. So your money won't be funneled into more risky solutions.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
Jacob, really cool project. Can you help me understand what is the upside and downside? Like what's the upside reward to investors and what's the potential downside risk?
The upside over what? Sorry, beg your pardon?
I'm just trying to understand or maybe we even start with the downside risk. What are the risks to people that deposit money here in this protocol?
Okay, so obviously the risk is that I'm integrating with another protocol. So if I'm a Aave token holder, the risk still manageable risk, but if there is something wrong with balancer or MStable, I need to accommodate for that. So the more protocols, obviously, the more risk in DeFi. And the upside is the bonus yield payment that I'm getting out of for my Aave deposits. And for investors, this is a leverage tool. So obviously, I'm going to multiply the potential loss from impermanent loss, etc. But I'm also going to multiply the potential profit. And it's quite profitable activity right now with all of the mining rewards and trading fees. So I'm just allowing these investors to scale.
Got it. Thank you. And is there the people that borrow money, do they have a limited set of areas that they can invest, or can they put money into any protocol?
Yeah, so all of the protocols need to be vetted. I start with 2 protocols, but then in the future could be like a governance mechanism to allow new players to integrate. Yeah, and it's thanks to that, I can automate all of the pricing mechanism, and therefore I can have liquidation and protect the user funds. So yeah, only trusted protocols that I can real-time price and liquidate if they drop in value.
Got it. Thank you. Very cool project.
Thank you so much, Jacob, for your project. That was really cool. For now, we're going to be taking a quick 10-minute break. So judges, feel free to turn off your camera and turn them back on when you're ready. And we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We're going to be starting in about a minute or two. So feel free to come back and turn on your camera for all the judges. And the next participant has already been promoted to panelist. Hello, judges. If you're ready to go, please turn your camera on and we will be starting as soon as you're ready.
We're ready to go.
Sounds good. That looks delicious. Pirik, you're now a panelist, so feel free to start screen sharing.
Okay, hi guys, Kartik here. Let me start the presentation. Hi everyone, thanks for taking some time to review the project I've been working on during the past couple of weeks. So the goal of my project was to build a PoolTogether pool using Aave as a yield source, and also to build a custom interface to interact with the pool. I've also planned to build a custom strategy to distribute the prize to 2 random winners. Sadly, it works in local, but not on Robson. So let's see how the interface works. So here is the landing page of the interface. Part of this interface was built during a previous hackathon, but I've decided to reuse it in order to focus more on Solidity development. So let's jump into the pool. So here we have the app where we can see when the next prize is and also what is the current price. And we're going to deposit some fund into the pool. So here we have a simple interface to purchase some Aave pool tickets. So I'm going to purchase the maximum amount I can. Here I click on the buy button. And then I need to approve the transaction in my wallet. So let's do this. Okay, so we've sent the transaction. While it's in progress, I'm gonna show you how it works under the hood. So the way it works is that we deposit some DAI into the pool, and then the pool is gonna mint us some tickets. Then what happened with our DAI? Our DAI is then deposited into Aave, and the pool receive Aave token, so ADAI, since we are using a DAI to deposit into the pool. So now my purchase has been successfully done. So now I can show you how it works to withdraw from the pool. So it's kind of the same interface. The difference is there is a notion of withdraw instantly. So what happens here is that, for example, I'm going to withdraw 1,000 tickets. And if I decide to withdraw by waiting, I won't lose any credit. So what are credits? Basically, it's a way to avoid people to like trick the system by like depositing directly into the pool and then withdrawing their fund. So here, I want to withdraw my fund instantly and in a way not participate into the effort of accumulating yield. So I'm going to click on withdraw instantly. And so as we can see now, as a forfeit, I'm going to pay 10 DAI of interest. So and only receive 90 Aave pool tickets. So I'm okay with that. So let's withdraw this 100 Aave pool tickets. So there we go, we send the transaction. So how it works in the hooks? It works this way. So here is a previous transaction. So it's kind of like what we did when we deposited. So like basically it's gonna send, the pool is gonna send us back some DAI, and we're gonna also burn the tickets that we've decided to withdraw, and we're gonna get less DAI than we had of tickets. So that's about it for the interface I've built, and that's not it. I've also updated the builder tool of PoolTogether to let anyone deploy their own Aave price pool. Thanks.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that cool demo. Judges, feel free to start asking your questions.
Oh, okay, I could start, I guess. Yeah, I think really a really good job building on top of Aave and using PoolTogether. I'm a big fan of the project. I think you mentioned it, but did you create that interface yourself or did you fork it? Because I think it's really nice. It's very user friendly. Very simple.
No, I've created it myself, and well, I've reused it because I built for another hackathon kind of interface for PoolTogether. But no, it's me that created the interface and adapted it to the new version of the protocol. Since they released last week the version 3, and so yeah, I built it myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. And can you explain how you calculate the penalty if you withdraw early? Because I assume that there's some kind of time duration for a given pool. I don't know if the rewards are distributed weekly or what, but is it like pro rata to the time before that given lottery concludes?
Yes, so this is handled by the PoolTogether protocol, so I didn't really have to implement this. But yeah, the way it's gonna work is that you have this system of credits, and it's gonna depend if the pool, if a prize has been awarded already a first time or not. And so it will either like burn some of your credits that you have, or if, for example, you deposit directly into the pool and then decide to withdraw instantly to like just participate, for example, just before the prize is awarded, it's gonna like take some money out. So not credits, but like the DAI that you've deposited. But this, I didn't have to handle it because it's handled by the protocol. And that's what is nice with this new protocol is like if you want to implement something new, you can just do it on top of it. So I don't have myself, I didn't have to think about this.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Pierre, great project. Quick question. You mentioned here that it says it should allow people who invested less money in the protocol to have better chances of winning. Can you explain why that is?
To have better chances of winning?
Yeah, I'm just reading the description of your project.
Yes. All right. Sorry. This actually, well, it was a random strategy that I wanted to implement. And sadly, it didn't work in the end. But like the goal, it was to have like to draw 2 random winners. So this way, you don't only have 1 random winners, so you have more chances to win. And the way it would work is like if the first address that is picked is the same than the second one that is draw, we don't award the prize a second time to this person. So it's kind of to avoid like some whales that would like deposit a lot of money into the pool, and then that would win almost every week. So it was a strategy that I started to develop. But sadly, when I was going to deploy it on Robson, it wasn't working, and I didn't have time to figure out how it would, what was the problem. So yeah, sadly, I didn't have time to do this.
Cool, thank you.
I know we're running out of time, but I also wanted to echo Dmitriy's comment. Crypto is like so unusable at times. And so to see something that's like very functional and clear to use makes me feel really excited inside. I'm looking forward to the day when we no longer even have to like kind of see MetaMask and interact with that as well. I'd be curious, like from your take, since it seems like you have a good focus on that, like what are we missing in the space to make things more usable, like from your end in building on top of these protocols?
I think a great question. Is kind of difficult to answer, but I think yes, the ease of use. If you look at the PoolTogether website, the main website, the way they are doing this is like it's very simple to go deposit your funds into the pool. Like it's not as complicated. Like for example, DeFi can be very complicated where when you start to learn about farming and all of this, yeah, it's like it's very simple. You just deposit your funds, and then you may win or not. Like there's nothing that is very complicated. And so what we could really do to make it more simple is like really think about. I think the UI is like the most important part, and really like explain to the user what they are gonna do and what's gonna be the outcome. Because usually in like most DeFi sites, like you arrive on the website and it's like you can deposit here, but you don't really know what's going to happen next. So I think that would be a first step. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Pierre, for your cool demo. And thank you for participating. So up next, we have Paymunity. Paymunity, please start your video. Or sorry, please start your screen share.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Rick from the Paymunity team from Hanover, Germany. We're a team of 4 people here, and our hack is based on the idea that we want to make blockchain technology and Ethereum more accessible to more people, and we want to position the app so that people can copy it and use it in their own communities where people might not have knowledge of how blockchain technology works or Ethereum. So the D app is actually an app that you can send your community members or people you want to join the community a code, and with this code it allows them to enter the wallet, and in this wallet people can start, for example, receiving money or sending. In this case we use the DAI token to make it even easier for people to understand what this is about, but it could be exchanged with any type of token, even tokens related to the community itself. And the main idea behind this is that we enable meta transactions by using Biconomy so people don't have to worry about having ETH inside of their wallet. And it really works like a regular wallet app, so people scan it, see the amount and where they're going to be sending the money, and send it. And the same works the other way around. One of the things that we also implemented in the D app is link functionality, so people can not only scan the code, but send a link to their family and friends through Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever other communication means they would like to use. And by using ends domain, we even make it easier for people to remember who they are sending the money to. And this is our hack, and we hope a lot of people copy it and start empowering their own communities around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Judges, you can start asking your questions.
I'm really here to see what Sid's feedback is, given the Coinbase perspective. I'm super curious. Thank you guys for that.
Yeah, great project. I love to see more usability. I love that if we get to a world where we don't have to tell people what gas is, I think that's the ideal world for everyone. Would love to hear a little bit more about how the gasless transactions are implemented.
Yeah, well, small disclaimer, we didn't actually finish everything, but we saw that economy was participating in the ETHGlobal, and we decided to use that as kind of the framework in SDK to enable gasless transactions. And we didn't make it to finish it and have a working prototype yet, but we as a team will continue even after the hackathon to make it work, because we have 2 actual projects that want to use it, so we're kind of motivated by that.
What actual projects want to use it?
We are here in Hanover, Germany, and one of the projects is actually a community of people that want to incentivize voluntary work and sustainability goals. So it's kind of people that are not very familiar with blockchain technology, but they need what we call like a single coin wallet that takes away all the complexity. It's just a wallet with a value in it. And the other project, I come from Venezuela, where there's a lot of inflation and a lot of problems right now. And we want to use DAI to enable people to have something similar to a bank account without having to worry about having ETH or gas. And that's why compatibility was a very important issue, to have like a usability layer that people use something that is kind of open and completely for the people that use this kind of solution. They're using something like a bank account, but it can be received by anybody that has any other type of wallet. And there's a lot of point of sales there. So that's why it's also mobile first. And we're focusing really on like a really easy to use QR code scan, send experience. So that's what it's about.
Yeah. No, it's really amazing, because the last project I was just saying, like, wouldn't it be so great if we didn't even have to like look at MetaMask and like deal with all of these like kind of challenges in just using and transacting? So what are the next steps for you guys then, in terms of like what happens from here? What functionality gets built out?
Yeah, we plan to, well, first get it working with Bioconomy. We had even talked with the team this morning. Gave us some pointers, and we'll keep on working on that. For the minimal viable product, we are going to be using Wallet Connect, so that we can use the mobile version of the Trust wallet or the Rainbow wallet or whatever wallet people have, just to get it really going and out there, and have at least like 50 to 100 people testing it. We already have at least for the project in Venezuela, a list of people that have already signed up and are eager to test it and even use it like in supermarkets, which got announced last week. A big chain of supermarket is accepting DAI, so that would be a really nice use case that we plan to fulfill until the end of the year.
Cool.
And I also like how you're using, it's a mobile project. I think we need more of those in the space. So really like that choice. Quick question. I just wanted to loop back on the Meta transactions. I haven't looked into Biconomy, but are they running a relayer? And is that how it's implemented? Or are you do you need to run your own relayer?
They are running a relayer. So the idea was actually to take care of the actual functionality and all the complexity with the relay layer and stuff to give it to somebody else to take care of.
Yeah, totally. Okay, great.
Cool. Thank you so much, Paymunity. That was a really cool project. And thank you for participating in the event. So up next, we have SecretPay. So feel free to start your video as soon as you're ready.
Hi, guys. Put my screen up. And I'll start. Tell me if all is okay.
Can you turn up your volume a little bit?
Yeah. I still can't really hear anything.
Yeah.
Shall I try fix it or continue?
Yeah, can you try your...
Sorry? Is there an issue?
Yeah, it's still a little bit quiet. Do you think you could try your screen share one more time?
Okay.
If not, we could do it for you.
In the green room, it was perfect. How is it now?
Still low.
Yeah.
Shit. Let's see. Just in case, let me put up all the volumes on my volume mixer.
Here, I'll try on my end here.
Okay, thank you. Shall I stop sharing? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Hi guys, and welcome to a video demo of SecretPay. So what SecretPay is, it's a decentralized escrow service and trustless service which uses chaining oracles to verify the payment or non-payment of PayPal or Revolut invoice links. This means that a seller can deposit Ethereum into a SecretPay contract, also using Textile.io or Textile mailboxes. Invoices are sent privately to the nodes and the buyer, and when the buyer pays this invoice, Chainlink or 50% plus consensus is required by the set of Chainlink oracles to trigger a withdrawal of that Ethereum by the buyer on the SecretPay escrow agreement. Let's go through the steps. So first of all, you've got two tabs. You've got sell and buy. It tells you to create an invoice, gives you some information, and you've got this text prompts here. You've got PayPal or Revolut. Let's click on PayPal. Here you want to type in the PayPal invoice ID, which you can get from the URL. In this case, let's enter this invoice ID, the textile public key of the buyer, and the ETH address of the buyer, to which we shall allow the ETH to be deposited once the Chainlink oracles confirm that the invoice has been paid. So these public keys are generated using MetaMask. The textile public keys are generated deterministically using MetaMask, so no private key storage needs to be done. You can select one or two or how many ever Chainlink nodes you want and submit contract. This page comes up, which is it is signing the textile messages. Click sign, and in the background it will be sending the details of the trade to the people through Textile, and now a prompt will come up to send the actual transaction on chain, which includes most of the data apart from the payment details and the fiat payment details. And firstly, we need to fuel the contract with one link, because if the buyer comes in and says he's paid it, the contract needs link to pay the nodes for their services. Now we shall swap to the buyer side of MetaMask and put in the contract, select load contract. As you can see here, details are brought in from the contract, but the invoice and the payment method can only be read by logging into Textile and seeing our mailbox. So this invoice ID that I put in has already been paid. So now, as I do query oracles, we can query oracles. This sends the request to the chaining nodes. So how the adapter works is it receives the address of the SecretPay contract address. It queries what is ledgered on the blockchain. It checks its mailbox for related messages, and then it finds the invoice ID, queries whether it's paid or not, and then replies either a 1 or a 0. Which we can go back to our page now, and if we click load again, it should come up funds released. So now in actual fact, it's not actually released yet. We need to click withdraw ETH. So 0.3854, and here you see it, 0.3864. We were the buyer address, this 8A6, and the trade is complete.
Awesome. Thank you for the video. Judges, feel free to start asking your questions.
I have a question. Really enjoyed this innovative project. PayPal and Revolut have pretty strict compliance policies about like crypto trading and things like that. Does this expose account holders to the risk of like PayPal and Revolut finding out and taking their accounts away?
So generally, for example, PayPal has an anti-crypto terms and service. They're like anti-crypto, even though there's new news. But the fact that invoice IDs are sent through Textile, only the buyer, seller, and chaining node operators have access to that invoice ID. So sort of from PayPal's perspective, they will see it's just a general transfer and invoice payment from like one party to another. The invoice IDs show nowhere on the blockchain. It's sent through Textile mailboxes.
Very cool. And is there a way that this gets a vulnerability where someone starts a dispute with PayPal or Revolut about a given payment and says it wasn't made or something like that?
I guess it's possible. I guess that is one way where there may be an issue in this. If the buyer, whoever paid, if opens a dispute and they want proof of transaction or something, I guess if PayPal asks for information on the trade, then there are question marks that are brought up. But I think this would be useful, for example, there are some P2P forums and subreddits where they're really open to counterpart, like the other person just completely scamming them. So using Chainlink to be like intermediary here, or not even one node, you can have as many nodes as you want, and 50% plus need to say that it's been paid. I think it's useful for those type of communities.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. I haven't looked into Textile too much, but can you explain the rationale for using that? Does it build on top of IPFS, and is that where this is sent through, or what's what purpose does it serve?
Yes. So as far as I know, it uses either, I don't know, like the mailbox. I mostly just use their APIs, but it uses libp2p and IPFS. And what it is it's used by SecretPay as a sort of off-chain sort of encrypted channel to transfer these invoice IDs between the parties involved. Because if the invoice ID was ledgered on the blockchain and that's public, it's subject to people's spy. Like you can just type in the invoice ID on your browser, and it gives you the email and details of the PayPal creator of the invoice.
Got it. That makes sense, and it's a cool use case of it. And I'm not sure if this is configurable, but for does it have to be 50% consensus on the Chainlink nodes, or can you make that? Can you adjust that to be 80% or?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's just like an if statement. If there's like true count and false count, paid or not paid, there's a counter, and you can just see like, you know, if 80% is true or paid, then it's released.
Got it. Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks for this. What's next from here? Like what missing features or like team members do you need in order to contribute to kind of like your full vision of what you're doing?
So yeah, the issue with this was time constraints, especially because of my job and stuff. But there are some holes, for example, in verifying that the contract, the SecretPay agreement, is a non-malicious contract. The oracles are actually the ones which are trust. I mean, because even though Chainlink is trustless, you need to trust like the set of Chainlink oracles, right? So there's like some front end checks, for example, that like, are these oracles the correct oracles? Is the invoice ID the same, that everybody's receiving the same invoice ID? There are some documentation. Actually getting maybe more payment providers. There are 2 payment providers right now, but there's like, I need to do some research on more providers, for example, and maybe some even governance. If there, like, if there's a deadlock, there may be a deadlock sometimes. If oracles, half of the oracles say yes, half of the oracles say no, I still need to confirm whether there are any like holes in the system like that.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you so much, Francesco, for your SecretPay project. Up next, we have Tokenlog. Wesley, feel free to start video sharing whenever you're ready.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
Let me share my screen. Hi, my name is Wesley, and this is my submission for ETHOnline 2020. Tokenlog is a new governance tool to create token-weighted backlogs. It allows projects to continuously gather feedback from their token holders in order to plan and prioritize their work, and allows token holders to continuously signal which items matter to them rather than just vote on single proposals. I believe it's a better way for projects to collaborate with their biggest supporters. How this works is that Tokenlog works on any GitHub repository, and it leaves your current workflow in place. All data is pooled and remains on GitHub. You can configure your Tokenlog directly from your own repository, and it's available on that same GitHub path. Voting is done either by a one token, one vote mechanism, or as per default through quadratic voting. Voting is done through signed messages and all handled without paying any gas. So let's get to a demo. We're here at the homepage of Tokenlogs, and I've prepared a few repositories for the purposes of this demo. So let's start with the first one, Compound, which obviously uses its own comp token. What's interesting here is that it doesn't just check your personal account balance, but also checks if you have any delegated voting power. As you can see here, I only have a half comp token, so my voting power is close to 0. Let's go back to the overview. All of these repositories are using their own tokens. So we have GNO, TBTC, and Yearn. Pocket Core, for example, is using the voting token from their Aragon DAO, and it's actually hosted on Ringbeat. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to my own Tokenlog, which I created during the development of this project. Here you can see there's 2 items on it already. The first one, implement quadratic voting. Let's say I want to vote on this one. And my project is configured to work with DAI, of which I have currently 11 tokens available. So if you go to the voting screen, you can see that the cost of my vote is going up exponentially. But this is an important item to me, and I want to vote all that I've left on this item. My MetaMask pops up to sign the message. I vote for it. And as you can see here, 3 votes are counted with it. It's currently at 4. This concludes the demo. So let's quickly go back to have a look at the next steps. I'm looking to finalize my MVP, do some performance improvements, some tweaks and minor bug fixing. After that, I plan to onboard projects and work with product and community management managers to actually use the product. After that, looking to further integrate GitHub and allow maintainers to easily configure their repositories. Lastly, I'm looking into exploring new voting and signing mechanisms that allow for actual economic weight to put up bounties or allow to stake or other new incentives to prioritize and finish the work on the backlog. That's it for now. If you want to try it out, your website is online, my own Tokenlog is online, or you can contribute directly to my repository on GitHub. Thanks, bye-bye.
Thank you, Wesley, for that awesome demo. Judges, feel free to start asking your questions.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Wesley. I think this is an important problem to be working on. Really good timing to start thinking through governance. I'm curious how you're thinking about addressing Sybil attacks with quadratic voting. Are there any identities attached to this, or is this a pure token-weighted TCR?
Yeah, right now there are no identities coupled against it. I have been looking into Snapshot Labs and also Aragon, who's using snapshots to look at the account balances, of course. I haven't implemented something like that, but that could be a solution. And the second one is using actual on-chain activity, I guess, where you can lock the tokens for a certain amount of time. And that's definitely something that was looking into anyway, where you have continuous, for projects at least, where you have continuous sprint cycles, for example. You could say we take a same 2-week period, for example, to let the community vote for items as well. After that, you release the tokens again to go into the next round.
Got it. That makes sense. And I think you mentioned this, but are there any on-chain transactions required to vote, or is this done via signatures, kind of like how Snapshot does it?
Everything is off-chain now, indeed. Signatures, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Correct.
Thanks.
You mentioned your next steps working with product managers and community managers. So I'm kind of curious, like, do you have any particular people or projects in mind? I'm also kind of curious about how you distinguish between product manager and community manager. I'm trying to wrap my head around like how specifically you would target community managers.
I worked a little bit with some of the projects already. Compound posted one of or a similar ID in their blog post before this hackathon, that they were looking for new ways for decentralized governance and tooling around that, to have token holders help and prioritize their roadmaps. So I think working with them would be a first one. Genosis, for example, is using a centralized service right now for sort of a public backlog right now. And I posted this during or while hacking on Twitter already, and I got some feedback from MetaMask and from Gitcoin and a few other people that were interested to try this out. So I guess those projects will be first to reach out to and see how it can help with them.
Cool. Okay, great.
I don't have any questions, but I really enjoyed the project. I think, making governance more user-friendly and aggregating people's governance opportunities across projects, that'll be a big win to increase, I think, individual participation more than just whales. So really cool project.
Yeah, I can say that like from the near protocol perspective too, we've been thinking a lot about this and had our first like governance meeting after we voted into like phase 2 of mainnet. So it would be good to connect you with the team on that as well. And also you win for like the most matrix setup presentation too, by the way. The whole like your whole aesthetic right now is very matrixy. So I just wanted to shout that out. So anyway, thank you for that presentation.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wesley, for your time. That was awesome. Next up, we have L2 Money. So L2 Money, when you're ready, please start your screen share.
All right, cool. Hi, everybody. I know Ashley already from a Hanami picnic in Tokyo, but to the other two of you, hi. And yeah, I'm getting ready to present my screen now. Our project is a total train wreck. My teammates won't even show their faces, but I'm here presenting. So yeah, you'll see. Like
for the team.
Yeah, exactly. We just didn't have enough time to execute, but here's our video anyway. Let's see.
What, you mean you can't build something completely like ready in a month?
We can't even build something like 1% ready, but all right, here it is.
Hi, my name is Ben DiFrancesco. I'm here with my teammates Matt Solomon and Ed Mazurek on L2 Money. Obviously, by the screen that you're looking at, we did not have the bandwidth that we thought we would have to finish L2 Money, sadly. But we do still think this is a compelling idea and something that the community needs, and we're hoping to be able to execute it sometime in the coming weeks. So we still wanted to submit and give you a sense of what we had been thinking about, and I'll turn it over to Matt to walk through what those features would have been.
So here you have the home page, and you can see we have 2 tabs here, one to show global stats on L2 usage, and the second tab here to show things specific to your Ethereum account. So on the home page up top, we would have some plots that show the total value locked in all L2s on Ethereum. And then in the bottom portion here, we would have individual statistics about the different L2s. The next thing you could do is flip over to this Meet tab, connect your wallet. And I'm on the wrong network, but that's okay. And see a list of your balances. So in this case, it would be taking all of the tokens on ZK Sync and showing the total USD balance of all of those. And then the next functionality would be to let you click on one of these cards, see a breakdown by token, and either deposit or withdraw from that particular L2. So that is pretty much it. Like Ben said, unfortunately, we didn't have the bandwidth to finish, but hopefully we will soon.
Cool. So yeah, just in closing, I think L2 on Ethereum is a really exciting space right now. It really feels like we're at an inflection point where Ethereum at the base layer has proven that there are a whole bunch of really interesting use cases, and there's a ton of demand for those use cases. In fact, there's more demand than the base layer network can really keep up with. ETH 2.0 is still a little bit down the road, especially the phases that enable the kind of functionality that would be required to replace what L1 is doing. And I think that L2 is going to step in here and really fill the gap. There's a lot of research that's been going on, and it's coming together just at the time when it's most needed. So we're excited to see that progress continue. There are a ton of great teams building a lot of interesting solutions, and we think that this tool will help do a few different things. It will help demonstrate the growth of L2 and make it easier for users to track and execute their, their workflows across these different L2s. So we're excited for the coming future of layer 2 technology on Ethereum. We think it's going to be a big deal in the next 6 to 18 months. And we're hoping that eventually L2 Money will help in the Ethereum community recognizing that growth and making it easier to use.
Alrighty.
Amazing. I've never seen such a beautiful presentation.
Oh my God.
Detail. I just want to give you guys props for coming through still and talking about like your vision and what you're trying to work on. So that's what we're all here for, not necessarily to have like a finished amazing project. So kudos to you guys. But what what made it so difficult? Like what, if you could wave a magic wand in order to have made this happen, like what maybe 3 things would you have had like access to, or like what tech would be available to you in order to execute on the vision?
Sure. Really, it was just a matter of time. We're all working full time together, all 3 of us, and just with projects, we just didn't have time. So we have a pretty straightforward vision though, and so we're really looking forward to getting it out at some point. But yeah, just not this month.
Okay, so not technical limitations, just really from a time perspective.
That's right.
Okay.
But I want to double click on that, just to take that thought experiment, assuming you had time. I mean, what do you think implementation wise would be the most critical thing to kind of be mindful of?
I guess it would just making sure that we're doing the price conversions accurately, that we're correctly like storing in database how much value is locked up in these different L2 contracts. But yeah, I mean, as I said, we already had a pretty good grasp around how we were going to approach it. It was really just a time thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. You guys should definitely ship this. It'd be cool to, I think everyone in the ecosystem wants to understand which L2s are growing and how much and what the distribution of assets is. For the user tools, did you give thought to if you're trying to transfer between L2s or from L2s to L1 and the complications around different rollups and different L2 solutions having different settlement times for withdrawals and things like that? Or did you not get that far into the weeds?
We didn't get that far into the weeds, but that's an awesome point, and I'm going to make sure to bring that back to my teammates and make sure, because we're definitely planning on having some kind of withdrawal and deposit flow on the per L2 balance page. So yeah, we should make sure to keep that stuff in mind.
Sweet, thank you.
Thank you.
Have you looked at Spacefold and what you're doing there?
No, have not. Let me check it out.
Yeah, I don't know if that could potentially inform a design choice here, because I think they were trying to also do kind of cross L2.
Awesome.
We're looking forward to seeing next steps.
Yeah, sure. I'll make sure to I'll keep you all posted, and thanks so much for the feedback and recommendations.
Yeah.
Cool. You guys have any other questions? 1 minute left.
Maybe one more in that, like what L2s were you thinking about? Were there any ones that were on the top of your roadmap integration wise versus further out for any particular reason?
Yeah, I guess the ones we were doing first were some L2s that we've already worked with, like ZK Sync and Loopring. But we were really looking forward to, after that, integrating stuff with the optimistic rollups and stuff like that. So yeah, that was kind of our roadmap, and yeah, we're still looking forward to implementing.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Ed.
You too, Ashley. All right, well, hey, cheers everybody, and thanks again so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, cheers. Bye-bye.
Hi, thank you. So Kartik will be coming back on. I was just taking over for him for the last couple projects or so. But yeah, Kartik, hello.
Hey everybody, I'm back, and I want to thank Anna for kind of taking over and running everything smoothly. I came back a little while ago, so I just stood still and let her continue. So it worked out really well. So good news is we got 2 more projects to go, and I know that they're super excited to present as well. So we have our second last project for the day, and that is YetiRoll. So the team has just been promoted, and Amadeo, whenever you're ready.
There we go, guys. Hello, can you hear me? See me? Yeah. Right, let's start sharing my screen. All right. Yeah, so also for me, I started this project. It's a little bit hard to bite off. It's quite a big scope. So it's a very fast video. And after that, I will take some questions. Here we go, guys. Dmitriy Brenzon. I'm a developer and tech entrepreneur. I have a couple of companies, and from the companies that I have, one of them has a big issue because we have around 30, 40 people working for us, a company called Yeti, and we're created YetiRoll for our internal use and our internal issues that we have with international banking. Basically, you can go to the presentation, see all why we are opposing of these, what the issues that we have. You can basically see here, it's a never-ending story. We need to, do something about this. I created YetiRoll for this, which is a decentralized online payrolling platform for seamless processing of payments for people connected to centralized and decentralized organizations. You can hear a little bit about what I'm thinking, and I want to go back to work. I want to, go back to work and have efficient value transfer between me and my employees. We need to coordinate against Moloch together. Here's a little bit about the technical overview, what I was thinking about, creating streams to actually pay out my workers in a decentralized manner. So the employer keeps his capital working, and the employee can get paid out in any asset that he wants, because we used a 1-inch integration into our system. Here's the technical setup of the treasury streams that we did. Here's the technical setup of treasury flows that we created. And here you can see basically how streams work in a more conceptual way. We also created a GUI. You can find that in the link. And here I will now start a short demo on how it works technically.
Okay, so we're going to allow our treasury to spend our DAI. That will allow us to use it later to start a stream. Now we're going to deposit the DAI into the treasury. So let's wait for this transaction to go through. And we'll just verify that the treasury has been updated for our account. So you can see there 100,000 DAI has been put in, some left over from before. Now we're going to start a stream from our client to our recipient. So that stream's been created and started. Let's just quickly view the stream. See all the stream details there. Now we're going to connect as our stream recipient, so the receiver of the funds. We're going to claim some money that's accrued from our stream. So we're going to take out 100 DAI away. Let's wait for this to go through. Now we can claim the funds. We can see this transaction is going to go through. And we can see our internal treasury balance for our recipients updated. Now we're going to check the DAI balance of our stream recipient. Let's have 1 DAI. Now let's withdraw 100 DAI away from the treasury. And you can see the updated DAI balance.
And so basically, this is the overview that I wanted to show you guys. And I want to go back to work. And let's increase human coordination together. And with your guys' help, we will be able to get this thing rolling, to get this thing off the ground, and to make it into a reality. I'm looking forward to working together more on this, together with the 1inch team or with other developers. As told before, I have a couple of tech companies in the blockchain space, but also the traditional space. And a lot of other companies face the same issue that I'm facing. International payments and having a more streamlined way of paying my workers and having my working capital actually working for me is a big issue. I want to solve it. Need your help. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you at the judging session. Thank you, guys. See you later.
All right. So this was it. Okay, guys, hear me?
Yeah, thanks for that demo. I mean, payments is a pretty big industry, of course, especially international. And
yes,
I hope that some of our judges have any questions, or some have questions, because I got a couple as well if there are.
Sorry, you said you had questions, Kartik?
Oh yeah, but I'll let you go first, or anyone.
Okay, you can also feel free to jump in. But you mentioned you wanted to get back to work, and this is coming from you wanting to solve for problems here. So your experience with. So I'm just curious, because you ran through the example really quick at just a high human to human level. What exactly do you hope Yeti will accomplish for your specific business? And then I guess we can make extrapolations for other businesses as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so basically every month I'm spending more than $1,500 or sometimes even $2,000 of wasted capital. I need to have my working capital, instead of having it invested in actually productive assets, I need to set it aside, and then it rots on the bank, and then I need to actually transfer it to like the specific issue is like I get most of my clients from Europe, the United States. And then most of my employees are actually in Asia and the Philippines and in Russia. And then what I need to do is have my euros and dollars. I need to convert them first to Hong Kong dollars. Then I have to convert them to Philippine peso or Russian rubles. And then I have to pay out my workers. And these workers are actually, they prefer to having a different, they also want to have dollar accounts or get paid out in different assets. And they can't because it's a big hurdle for them to set up banking or et cetera, et cetera. And what I was thinking is setting up payment streams so that my working capital is actually constantly doing something. So as a company where I would normally have my working capital sleeping in a bank account, I have my working capital actually, for example, providing liquidity or doing whatever productive thing that it can do. And then at the moment when a stream starts, the worker gets paid out in that productive asset stream and then can choose when he wants to get paid out. Right now, what you could also do with this is that the workers, when they have fixed streams streamed to them as a person, other people can like fund these people if they need like a loan or something like that. So it's a dual purpose for me as an employer and also for my employees that want to be paid out in a normal currency.
Cool. Okay. Amazing.
Quick question. First of all, great presentation and the vision. Love all of it. What's the best way for an employee to get their money working when they've received it and earning interest?
What do you mean? Like in the treasury, you mean?
No, even once an employee has, if an employee claims the money for themselves or claims their salary or has a stream coming to them, what's the best way for them to automatically have it start earning interest?
Yeah, so there's different ways to do that. So at this moment, I was thinking of using, and I didn't have time to completely build that out because it's also quite big, but I was thinking about using the Curve tree pool, for example, which is a tree pool of asset like DAI, USDC, USDT, and transferring them that asset. And if they want to get paid out, so if they say, okay, I want to get paid out, they can basically get paid out every end of the day, or basically you can make it like every minute. And then you can transfer that asset into whatever asset that they want. So basically you can transfer it then to dollars or euros with, for example, something called there's a couple of protocols that are starting to do that, but I hope that in the future more protocols will help me with the fiat to crypto conversion. This is purely focused on the basically managing payment streams for decentralized, centralized organizations. And I want to build it in a way that it's like an open source commodity. So I need this for my own organizations. So I will actually execute this further. And once it's done, I will release this to the community to use it however they want to.
Great, thank you.
I think we're at time, but just a comment on that. It really seems like you've thought through a lot of this. So thanks for kind of going through that and sharing it with us.
Yeah, thanks guys. And yeah, we need to slay Moloch. It's like human coordination, you know, if we can increase the speed that we transfer capital to each other, I think a lot of beautiful things can happen. And especially with the workers that I work with, because they're mostly in developing countries where we hire designers, developers, and these people, you know, if you can have a stream to them, prove that their time is value, then other people might lend money to them. So that was my way of thinking.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And with that in mind, we are ready for our last demo for the day. And for that, I'd like to invite Team DeFi Polly. So, Lito, you're here. Feel free to kick off with your video.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm glad to be here. I'm the last one, and to conclude this series of awesome presentation, what do you think about playing a game?
Let's do it.
Yes, I'm going. Yeah. Let's go.
I've also never seen a microphone light up like that. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Reminds me of one of those deep sea fish that have the lights to attract the bait.
Is there supposed to be audio in the background?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
sorry,
the audio is
sorry,
not coming.
Yes. I
So you have
start
to,
again. Sorry.
Share one more time with, and since you're doing a local video, you should check off both boxes at the bottom of Zoom.
Yes, you're right. Sorry.
Good.
Start again. This one and this one. Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Ludovic and I'm going to present DeFi-Venture, the game I've built for ETHOnline Hackathon 2020.
Welcome to DeFi-Venture, the game that will teach you about blockchain, decentralized apps, and DeFi services. You play the role of a crypto entrepreneur, and your goal is to become the wealthiest player through founding and developing businesses in the crypto space. All players start with the same amount of cash, and from the Genesis block. Now, roll the dices, and move on the board. When you land on a startup, you can decide to found it only if no other player did it before. You have to pay the initial capital. Now the startup is yours. If you land on a startup that is already owned by another player, you have to buy its product and pay the owner. So, basically, the more startups you own, the more revenues you can expect. When you land on a chance block, you pick a card, and you have to perform an action like pay or receive cash. When you land on the COVID block, bad luck. You're locked down in quarantine, and you can't play the next round. To grow your wealth, you must invest in your startups by injecting more cash, to increase your revenues when other players land on your blocks. With the DeFi services, you can earn interest by staking cash, or borrow money by locking your assets as collateral. Your investments can also be funded by performing an ICO, that means issuing and selling tokens for your startup. Moreover, there is an in-game marketplace to exchange assets between players. By playing this game, the players learn how to interact with the blockchain. We also hope this will allow mainstream people to realize how some decentralized solutions redefine the way the financial services can be delivered. They would have a better understanding of the DeFi revolution, and eventually it would help them to jump in.
I really hope you have enjoyed this short teaser. The game is deployed on Matic testnet, and you can play live at the URL below. Let me describe quickly its architecture. DeFi-Venture is a fully decentralized game, meaning that all the game's mechanisms are performed on the Matic blockchain by a set of smart contracts. Portis is used as a gateway to connect to the Matic blockchain. This is a very good solution to embark users that doesn't have a crypto wallet yet. A game factory contract is responsible to create the other contracts required for a game session. There is an ERC20 smart contract to represent the in-game currency, an NFT contract to manage ownership of startups, a game master contract to implement and check the game rules, and a marketplace contract to manage exchanges. In addition, a Chainlink VRF coordinator is also used to generate random numbers. The development of this game doesn't stop now. First, I need to complete the most advanced mechanisms of the game. I also need Chainlink VRF to be deployed on Matic, that is not done yet. Then I would be able to deploy on mainnet. Moreover, the users should be able to play without paying fees thanks to a gas relay that would be funded by a no-loss price pool, but I didn't have the time to integrate it yet. Finally, I think about a 3D version of the playground deployed in Decentraland. And more than that, I would like to play with family and friends. I hope you enjoy this presentation and appreciate my work. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much. That was a super creative demo. I'm sure there's a lot of questions here.
Yeah, that was super fun. Thank you. I'd like to play myself, but curious. I also like how you outlined specifically what needs to happen next. You know, what other folks in terms of team members or you know, technology do you need access to in order to execute this, or can you handle it all on your own?
Yeah, currently I didn't have the time to finish the implementation of all the ideas I have, especially some ideas I have in the game itself, like raising an ACO. We see the UI, but it's not connected yet to the smart contract. So that's one point at the game, and the other point is how to make the game playable by anybody. We didn't have an Ethereum account, but didn't have the native token of the blockchain. It's Matic in this case. It's not ETH, but that's why I would like a gas relay. But the idea was to found the gas relay with something similar to PoolTogether. So people are staking a bit of money to get the right to play. And they can get their money back whenever they want, but they can't play anymore. And during the time they have staking their money, the interest found the gas relay. That would be the concept of pool to play, but I didn't have time to do that in addition to the game. But in terms of technology, I've seen a lot of a great panel of technology, very useful to achieve that. I was very impressed by, for instance, I've discovered Portis was able to switch from layer 1 to layer 2 very, very quickly. So it's very practical in my concept, because you can stake you can stake on level 1 to get interest and play on level 2 with the same account, and that's wonderful. Chainlink is also very interesting in that way, I like the game is fully decentralized because it gives it some perspective. So anybody can create a new front end and connect to the game smart contracts and maybe implement a bot that is playing very in autonomous way with a given strategy, and that's a lot of perspectives. And now I think I need to have real players to get feedback on it.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome, and I think it takes a lot of creativity to create a game. So kudos for trying to build this. I want to ask a clarifying question. Is that in that, are each one of those like squares or boxes, do you actually perform on chain the thing that they're asking you to do? So if it's asking you to stake something, is that something that you need to do directly in that UI?
Sorry, could you repeat? I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to understand in the game when it's asking you to maybe do some action,
yes.
That's like a DeFi action, or is the player supposed to actually do that on chain?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. When the player is founding a startup, he has to pay the initial capital, and then he will get the ownership of the startup. So it means there will be a transfer of the token, of the currency, the in-game currency token. There will be a transfer in the ERC20 smart contract that manages the tokens, and they also will have a transfer of the asset in the NFT contract. So these two transfers have to be done together, and it's implemented by the game master contract that is realizing the action on the blockchain when the user is choosing the option he wants to play.
Got it. That makes sense. Yeah, and that's a great way, I think, for people to become more comfortable with actually interacting on chain. So it can be a good learning tool as well.
Yeah. Maybe you have recognized the concept of monopoly, the game Monopoly, and that teaches about capitalism. Borrow money, you have a bank, and with blockchain we don't need any bank. It's the smart contracts is doing the job in a trustless manner, and that's crazy. We can play without a bank, and that's what I would like people to understand, why the DeFi is so important and why it's so rupture, something new, something
Well, thank you. I feel like games are always a really good way to get people kind of comfortable with new ideas and concepts and step outside of like these preconceived notions that they might have. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Well, awesome. Thanks so much. That was a really creative game. And yeah, I think I am personally ready to play that next. I'm going to go into a project and just see what I can play with right now in Matic. So
yes.
That's it. I want to thank all of you for being here, especially all the teams that hung out to watch the remaining set of demos. Ludo, thanks for presenting and being our last team. And before we close off, I want to make sure that I kind of thank our volunteers, Anna and Winnie, who kind of coordinated all of this behind the scenes. So everything you saw as a judge and where you're going to see in the video was a lot of coordination that they managed through the whole process. So thanks again for helping us out today. And lastly, before we end, I want to thank all three of you, Dmitry, Sid, and Ashley, for giving us a couple hours of your day to watch all of these demos and give a lot of feedback to these projects. So really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you being part of the event as well.
And I'd like to thank you guys, because I feel like ETHGlobal, ETHOnline has done a tremendous amount for allowing people to kind of tap into the Ethereum network and ecosystem on like a human level, and for sharing really cool, inspiring ideas. So thank you, Kartik, and the rest of your crew for making it happen.
Yeah, we'll pass this along to the rest of the team as well.
Sure.
And thank you to all the participants as well. So much inspirational work. It's amazing to see how much y'all accomplished in this short amount of time. I think there's at least a couple of billion-dollar businesses that I saw being demoed potentially. So you guys are building the future, and it's also very international future, something I really appreciate to see with people from all around the world. So really appreciate y'all.
We all want to help. So regardless, hit us all up and let us know how we can be helpful.
Absolutely. We'll make sure the teams have a way to reach out to you through Discord or other channels. So with that, I want to thank everybody here, and we will conclude this webinar. So thanks again, and hope you have a great rest of the week. See you on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.